Some people take football for granted. Some people just play just to play it. Me, I like to take everything outside of football and I like to just bring it to the field. And one of the best things about it is you can legally hit somebody.
You know, in hindsight, there were signs. This is Luke Hill. Luke Hill is an 18-year-old high school football player from Maryland. Luke is a dumb nigga. Luke is a dumb nigga because he thinks the police are dumb. The police are not dumb. Most of the time. And unfortunately for Luke, he had to find that out the hard way. Because in 2020, when he was supposed to be getting ready to go to college and take that first step towards his NFL dream, he was instead sentenced to 20 years in prison. Why was he sentenced to 20 years in prison, you ask? I got you. Let me take it back. On May 18th, 2020, Luke Hill was at his home scrolling through social media. He found himself on Instagram when a text message came to his phone. What he saw in that message would change his life forever, for the worse. But life wasn't always that bad for Luke.
Yet another timeout, another superstar, Luke Hill, coming off a championship St. John's WCAC.
This is also Luke. Standing at 5'11", 180 pounds, he's the 7th ranked cornerback in the entire nation. He goes to St. John's College High School in DC, which boasts one of the most prestigious athletic programs in the country. Luke reaps the benefits of that prestige as he's a state champion and a highly coveted recruit with a multitude of Division I offers and NFL aspirations. His story is much, much bigger than just him though. This is Bria. Bria is Luke's classmate, but more importantly, Bria is Luke's ex-girlfriend. With both her and Luke being star athletes at the school, the facade of a picture-perfect high school couple was easy to sell, but behind the scenes, they were anything but. To put it lightly, Luke was not a fan of the idea of Bria not being in a relationship with him. Even more than that though, Luke hated the idea of Bria moving on and being with any guy other than him. See, he was the abusive, possessive type. Luke was the type of that threatened his significant other with physical violence whenever he felt like she wasn't doing right by him. The old scare him into submission tactic. The relationship was rocky to say the least. But unfortunately for Luke, Bria isn't pussy. So eventually the day came where she decided enough was enough and she dumped him. And when Luke left St. John's to attend national powerhouse St. Francis Academy, it made it just that much easier for her to move on. This is Ishmael. Ishmael is also Luke and Bria's classmate at St. John's and a 3-star recruit on the varsity basketball team to boot. Sometime between the fall of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, Ish and Bria started seeing each other, and it was serious. As you can imagine, this news got back to Luke in the form of a rumor. And because he was now at St. Francis over an hour away in Baltimore, living on campus, there was no real way for him to confirm said rumor. There wasn't shit he could do but imagine and wonder and cope and seethe until that fateful day. See, Luke enjoyed a very eventful senior year. He began the season with 22 Division I offers from the likes of Alabama, Florida, Clemson, and Oregon, to which he committed to in April 2019. He would lead the St. Francis Panther defense to an 11-1 record in a campaign that saw them crowned as the 3rd-ranked team in the entire country. On the tail end of that, he played in the ever so prestigious Under Armour All-American game and the Polynesian Bowl to put a bow on it. And if all of that sounded like gibberish to you, basically, Luke was nice as at football, and he had quite the illustrious career. Something he could truly look back on and be proud about, right? Except, y'all know the drill. Once his high school football career came to a close, some superficial cracks began to show, to put it lightly. While his peers were getting ready for college, Luke was up to some other things. Now, to reiterate, Luke's senior year was in 2020, which, as we all know, brought about the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent quarantine. For him, it didn't encroach on any football-related matters given that the season ends in December and lockdown began in March, but it was that lockdown that aggravated some already existing issues Luke had in his life. And I know that may hit super close to home for some of y'all. Being able to go to school or work and having that repetition, that schedule, was the only thing keeping a lot of us grounded, and it was no different for Luke. Luke was from Temple Hills, Maryland, right outside of DC. While it's not the absolute trench DC is, it is still, in fact, the hood. So by all intents and purposes, Luke was a hood baby, with many of the hood baby learned behaviors. Long story short, school and football were the only things keeping him out of trouble. And once those were gone, those cracks, they began to widen. So, back to that fateful day. Luke is on his phone, scrolling through social media, when he gets a text. A singular screenshot of a selfie taken from Instagram of 2 very familiar faces. It was Bria and Ish, booed up. This sent Luke into a rage. Not only did he feel disrespected by the fact that Bria had truly moved on, he was now faced with concrete evidence of her moving on to Ish of all people, which incensed him. And then came the threats. At around 5:52 p.m., Luke would make several calls and texts to Bria's phone, pressing her about the Instagram post, asking her where Ish lived, and threatening to, quote, do something about it. What could that possibly mean, you ask? Sometime after that, we can only assume Luke asked everybody he possibly could about Ish's whereabouts. Bria stayed solid and kept quiet, though she did warn Ish about the threats. He wasn't exactly willing to call Luke's bluff and test his gangster. After all, Ish knew Luke very, very well. Unfortunately for him though, some random nigga coughed it up anyway. So with the address now in Luke's possession, he had a score to settle. Roughly 20 minutes later, at around 7:27 p.m., Ish is outside his home in Akakik, about 12 miles south of Temple Hills, getting some shots up in his driveway. Shortly after, his mom Renee is pulling back into the neighborhood after a grocery run. She turns right at the stop sign onto her street and backs into the driveway just as Ish is finishing up. And that's when it happens. An older looking white sedan with tinted windows rolls past and slows down at that same stop sign. Luke. He rolls the window down, stares Ish dead in the eyes, and then boom. 6, maybe 7 shots ring out, all aimed in Ishmael's direction. Ish gets the fuck up out of there, and Renee runs inside and calls 911. And Luke, gone out of the neighborhood just as fast as he arrived. 2 bullets would hit the side of the house, with one ending up in the upstairs bathroom, but miraculously nobody was hit because Luke can't aim. Police would arrive about 7 minutes later to assess the situation, take statements, and collect forensic evidence from the scene. There was no question of who his assailant was, so Ish gave up a name to police quick and told them about the threats that he made to Bria as well. With all that information now in hand, police would waste no time making their move. They were on their way to Luke's house. Now, upon arriving there, they were surprised to find that there was no white sedan in sight. Until there was. Now around 8:30, that exact white sedan pulls into the driveway. Luke hops out and walks inside his house. A couple minutes later, he walks back out, hops back in the car, and pulls off. But unbeknownst to him, a squad car was merely 100 feet down the road watching this nigga the entire time. So just as he's about to pull out of his neighborhood, they get behind him, cut those red and blue lights on, and just like that, Luke is caught. A routine traffic stop would be his undoing. Now you may be wondering, how did it even get to this point? Or why would a kid with a clear path to the NFL throw his life away in that manner? Was it really that deep? The answer is hell no, it wasn't. But you'll soon understand exactly the type of person Luke was to even do some wild shit like this in the first place.
Now, you have to understand, I'm going to keep this real with you. It is the year 2020, and there's cameras everywhere, okay? So, if you were involved in something this afternoon, cameras may have caught that. Okay? And that's why we're in here today.
The last thing I said for her was to leave me alone
Okay. And when was that?
when I was in the car.
Today? Like just 5 minutes ago?
When I was in my car driving.
Yeah, like recently?
Yeah.
Was she bothering you?
Yeah, one just stuff going on, but I wasn't tripping off that. So,
What's that?
a lot of stuff was going on, but I wasn't tripping off that. So forth.
Well, that's why I'm in here. I wanted to hear your side, because I've been told one side, and it doesn't sound good. And I'm not going to make an assumption there's 2 sides to every story.
What are you talking
That you were threatening her and her
I didn't.
boyfriend.
about? Her boyfriend?
Yeah.
No.
No? Were you being threatened at all?
No.
No?
She didn't threaten me. I haven't seen her in a while. I seen her like last week though.
Okay.
That's why I didn't even know she had a boyfriend.
Okay.
I didn't even know. Yeah.
So did you happen to see an Instagram picture today of her and her boyfriend?
I seen a picture of her in the gas, but
Yeah.
What you just witnessed was Luke's honest-to-God attempt at pretending that he had no idea who Ish was and no idea what was going on in Bria's love life, which is funny for a couple of reasons. One, it's been established that Luke was the aggressor in the situation. There's documented proof of him spamming Bria with phone calls and texting her with threats. Him saying
the last thing I said for her was to leave me alone.
is ridiculous because we know Bria didn't want to do with that guy. The assertion that she was the one that wouldn't leave him alone is preposterous. 2, he goes from saying that he spoke to her that day to saying that he hasn't spoken to her in a while to then saying he spoke to her a week prior to then admitting that he saw the picture of her and Ish together the day of. Nigga, you not even keeping track of your lies, right? You a goofy. 3, the chances of 2 athletes going to the same school and being entirely unfamiliar with each other are so astronomically slim, and trying to insinuate that to a detective is laughable. But let's just play pretend here and assume that they've never crossed paths in 3 years of attending school together. Luke. Let's let Ish tell it. Let's just bring out this little victim statement. Okay. Question. Who is Luke? Answer. My girlfriend's ex. We went to the same school. Oh, we have another one. Okay. Question. How do you know Luke? Answer. We played basketball together when we were in the 2nd grade. We went to the same school. Well, I don't know about y'all, but unless he's acquired the most acute strain of CTE, I don't believe he's just forgotten somebody he's known since the 2nd grade. Before he's even been accused of anything specific, he's already trying to set up plausible deniability so he can distance himself from a potential motive. Essentially, it couldn't have been me. I don't even know who Buddy is. Bold strategy.
Did you happen to go over to his house today?
No, I didn't.
Would anybody in your family have gone over there with your car?
No, I went with some friends. My friends, they took my car though.
Okay.
I don't know.
Who was driving your car today?
Me, my friend, the house I was over.
Lucas concocted an on-the-spot alibi that puts him at this imaginary friend's house during the day. For some reason in this alternate universe Lucas created, he lends this friend his car while he stays at the house, I guess, and then this friend goes to commit his dastardly deed all unbeknownst to him. Like, did you even try? The vehicle in question, a white 2004 Acura RL, was captured on surveillance near the scene. Cameras had to have been good as hell because investigators later were able to trace the license plate to Luke's home address. And once they got that, it was a wrap.
Okay. Did you guys go over there at all?
I didn't, not at all.
You sure?
Yes, sir, I
Because
did.
your phone's going to say you weren't over there. Because you understand your phone's a GPS and it plots everywhere you were.
I didn't go over there.
And I'm keeping your phone. I'm doing a search warrant. So that's why I'm giving you the chance to be honest with me.
I didn't go over there. I didn't.
Okay. Do you know somebody who did?
I don't know what they did when they had my car, but I didn't.
Who had your car then?
Luke is clearly adamant that this friend of his was the only one using his car that day. The detective has now presented the most natural question to the story that he's clinging to. I wonder what his response will be.
Can't tell you that's my friend. Right. It's like loyalty.
Holy f***.
That's fine. Like I'm saying, if you were texting about it, I'm going to get it.
Wow.
Alright?
Yeah, I wasn't. Nothing.
You sure you weren't over there?
I wasn't.
Because we have cameras. Everybody has a Ring camera.
I wasn't.
Do you know what happened over there?
No, I don't.
Yeah? What happened?
Luke finally asks a very important question. If you, yes you the viewer, were truly innocent, just a regular person minding your business, driving near your neighborhood, and suddenly you get pulled over by a cop, stuffed into the back of a cruiser, taken to the precinct, and thrown into an interrogation room, would it really take you this long to ask why you're there? I don't know. Me personally, no. I feel like Luke's been so busy trying to build a story, trying to sound believable, that he completely forgets to look innocent. He's focused on crafting an alibi instead of playing the part of a confused, clueless suspect. And you can best believe that Mr. Barstool here has caught on to that. Dumbass shirt.
That's what I was asking if you know.
I don't. Can you tell me what
Yeah,
happened?
that's the house was shot at, and the kid was shot at.
No, I wasn't aware. I didn't know my friends on that same time. No.
The dramatic irony here is like palpable. It's almost creepy. Luke's lie has essentially caught a pulse. In this full commitment he's made to the bit, he's now knowingly reacting to a fake version of a story as if it were real. I mean, to say that you, quote, didn't know that your friends were on that type of timing, complete with dramatic pause for full effect, is incredible because, nigga, you're the friends. It's a self-report. He's essentially acknowledging that he was f***ing wildin', indirectly. It's like a scene out of a Tubi movie, bro.
Okay. That's why you're in here. And somebody was shot at today. You keep feeding your phone.
Wasn't me.
Well, here's your chance to say who it is, because right now I'm full of chill.
Wasn't me.
This stems from you.
I talked to a lawyer.
He finally asks for a lawyer. Why? Because he feels cornered. For the first time all night, Luke understandably truly feels the pressure of his lies catching up to him. So he did the only thing left that made sense, and quite frankly, something he should have done way earlier. If you're not aware, once you ask for a lawyer, the law says everything stops. No more questions, no more nothing. Officers are supposed to kill the cameras and pause the interview until your lawyer is present. That's your right. But as you can see by the amount of time left in this video, that doesn't happen here for some reason. But that's something I want you, yes, you the viewer, to remember. If you ever end up in that chair, first of all, you're a thug. Second of all, ask for a lawyer and don't say a thing after that. I don't care if you know in your heart of hearts that you're the guiltiest in the world. That's for you and your lawyer to figure out. Cops will take advantage of your slip-ups and you will be much worse off because of it. But let's move on.
Want to talk to the lawyer? That's fine. All right, we're keeping your car and we're keeping your phone. And we're at Dad's house right now. Is there any lawyer you want to speak to?
My mom and my dad know.
All right. You have a phone number from mom and dad?
So my dad number?
Yeah.
01.
All right, give me a minute. I'll be back in.
Hey, Luke. Luke will spend the next couple of hours in the interrogation room with nothing but his thoughts to accompany him, trying to get some sleep and okay, so I know I said I wouldn't do any like psychological assessments or anything like that, but I think we can make a light exception here. This is exactly what it looks like. Luke spends hours plucking hairs off his scalp, collecting them on the desk, and playing with them. If you just shivered, I don't blame you. That is a fat clump of hair. I'm compelled to assert that maybe Luke is feeling distressed over his current predicament. Losing his damn mind, perhaps? They call this self-soothing behavior. Basically your brain's way of comforting itself under pressure, like pacing around or biting your nails. So if you had any doubt whether or not Luke was really keeping it together under that calm, nonchalant demeanor, then this should throw that out the window. Or, you know, maybe he just had like tricho before he even entered that room and it isn't triggered by stressful situations. And you know what else? Maybe I'm white.
What up, man? Do me a favor, get off the table.
Speaking of white, 7 hours have now passed. It's morning time and a new detective has come in. Visibly younger, athletic build, wearing khakis and an Under Armour hoodie. Total contrast to the guy before him. This one's possibly meant to seem more relatable. He'll soon even demonstrate some knowledge about Luke's football career and high school football in general. It's like they brought in someone who could kind of meet him on his level. Talk sports, sound casual, but still guide him where they want.
What's going on, man? I'm Bowles, by the way. How are you?
Good.
Been better, been worse?
Good.
Gotcha. What's the last name, brother?
Phil. The guy just came in here and did this door.
Yeah, I'm not him, though. What's your first name, man?
Luke.
Where do you live at? What is your phone number, bro?
Yo.
So I heard you're good at ball?
Who you got that for?
You told me, man. You still got a ride to Oregon?
Out of school. Oh no.
Which one did you commit to?
Oh,
Start next year?
it's not a couple of months.
When's camp start?
Corona over.
They haven't given a date, I take it, though. How many times you been out there?
First.
Gotcha.
How long you gonna be in this world?
A little while, so. You got ID?
They took it.
Huh?
They took it.
No, do you have an Instagram?
Oh, I did what to them. Yeah, no.
What's your ID?
No name.
Man, you gotta play that with me.
Already. You know the name, I don't.
You are on it all the time.
It might be 301 Luke. 301 Luke with 2 E's. I think it might be it.
This moment is so funny to me. It is the year 2020. You would be hard pressed to find a teenager on this side of the planet without an Instagram account, let alone an athlete. So when Luke tries to convince the detective otherwise, it's truly laughable. But what really gets me is how fast he folds the moment the detective pushes back. The second the detective hints that he already knows more than Luke thinks, Luke just concedes, like he's spooked, over something so seemingly minuscule as an Instagram account. Whether the detective actually knew if he was active or was just bluffing doesn't even matter. It's super easily verifiable, which is why lying about it in the first place makes no sense. And the whole interaction just makes him look fluky. You can see and hear the moment that he cracks, just a little.
It might be
I think it might be. What do you mean it might? He's slipping. Now what you don't know is that the detective is about to use this crack to set up a bombshell in the coming moments.
Man, you gotta stop getting in trouble, bro. You wanna take ball to the next level. You might not be, you keep doing this.
You're right.
Because I know, like, you might be up there right now, but there's a bunch of dudes who right around the same as you. Oregon would easily say no and take somebody else. You're just a number of them.
That's true.
Because I know this isn't the first time you've been in this room before. Whatever happened with the last thing? You pay the money back?
Yeah, monthly.
How much more do you owe?
8,000, 9,000. Something like that.
Do they still charge you with it, or do they let it go if you pay it back?
No, they ain't charging me. Under 18.
Because they don't want to mess with your life. Because I guarantee you, if you got charged with that, Oregon would have taken away what they were given.
That's true.
Okay, we have a lot to unpack here, so stay with me. These are our first major bombshells, insights into those character issues I mentioned earlier in the video. First, it's finally established that Luke wasn't some first-time offender with a spotless record who just made a mistake. He's been in some major trouble before. Around a year or so back, Luke and a couple of friends got caught up in a home burglary worth tens of thousands of dollars. It never made the news since he was still a minor, but he was required to pay some money back in restitution. He didn't even go to juvie. That's not no little ass crime, especially given the fact that he still has $8,000 to $9,000 left to pay. But we'll go more in depth with that later. Secondly, there's an unrevealed aspect about all of this that makes it so much wilder. Notice how dry Luke's responses get whenever the detective warns him about risking his football in future. All the spiel about how he's just another number and that he can easily be replaced. Well, it already happened. Luke was not going to Oregon later that year. That had been decided 3 months prior in February when they cut ties with him, citing a series of immature actions, according to reports. What exactly he did for that to happen isn't clear. There were rumors that he had a disagreement with his recruiter that ended up in a, quote, blow up, whatever the fuck that means. There was an unverified story of him scamming a fan out of some Oregon gear on Instagram, taking their money and then ghosting, amongst other things. But again, take these with a grain of salt. They definitely qualify as immature actions, but the source is Reddit, for goodness sake. Lastly, the circumstances around Luke leaving St. John's and going to St. Francis in the first place also were not what they seemed. It wasn't voluntary on Luke's part. He was expelled, as stated in Issue's report that we looked at earlier. I hate it for dramatic effect. This is also supported by this post from a supposed student at St. John's, claiming that it was due to a weird incident. They also claim some other things, but we're gonna ignore that. You now have the full picture of an undeniable crash dummy, a look into the precipitation of events that led him to this day. Nothing about it was sudden or unexpected. It was a slow burn that birthed a climax that ain't surprised nobody close to the situation. And surely enough, there is one more twist to this case that might truly fry your brain later down the line.
It's a little while. That's like a day.
No, I ain't be here for a whole day now. Probably a few more hours up. Something like that.
That's the right deal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then why go after that?
I don't know. Depends. I know some other detectives talked to you earlier or whatever. I don't know if they did or didn't talk to you about. I would like to hear whatever occurred last night or didn't occur or where you were. Maybe you weren't even where they're alleging. But in order to do that, I'd have to read you your rights Basically, like, I know you've heard them before, but I'd read them to you, and then you could talk to me or stop talking when you wanted. If you didn't like what I asked you, you could stop. You'd have the control of that. But are you good with that? If I got the little thing, read it to you, and then we talk? Give me your version of whatever did or didn't occur?
And you can read it to me.
Okay, all right, give me 1 second, Larry.
Luke kind of shoots himself in the foot here. Not in any major way, but this is another instance of him not really understanding how all this shit goes. When the detective asks if he'd be willing to talk after being read his rights, Luke says,
And you can read it to me.
now that sounds harmless, like he's just agreeing to follow procedure, but it's actually a mistake. The detective isn't asking if Luke wants his rights read. He's asking if Luke's willing to keep talking afterward. So when Luke says, you can read it to me, he's basically giving the green light to keep the interview going, even though he's been hinting that he wants a lawyer the entire time. And the detective knows exactly what to do with that. He's smooth with it. He offers Luke a drink, steps out for a minute, and is about to come back in with some more small talk to reestablish rapport and make Luke as comfortable as possible before he squeezes out a confession.
You want a drink or something? If I don't have water, do you drink soda?
Good.
Good man. Let's probably do some water then. Here you go, man.
All right.
Yep. How long you guys been out of school for? Like, when was the last time y'all were actually in school?
Only like 2-3 months ago.
Really? Alright, man. Well, like I was saying earlier, I'm going to read you your rights. And you can tell me whatever you want to tell me about did or didn't happen or where you were or where you weren't last night, alright? It's up to you. You're in control of the talking, so it's your chance to give me your piece. Alright. You understand these rights? It's got to be yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to make a statement this time without a lawyer? Do you want to talk to me about whatever did or didn't happen?
The detective has finally asked Luke a foolproof question for which he has given the perfect answer to. No. He won the game. The detective is all out of moves, and he'll wrap this interview up promptly. All he has to do is answer the remaining questions, and Buddy will be out of his hair. Okay, Luke. I see you, boy.
Are you going to then put drugs or alcohol right now?
I got a question, y'all.
No.
Oh,
What's my regulations? What's my charge?
Charges?
Yeah.
What will they be?
Yeah.
If what occurred is true, and you're not giving me any other reason, attempted first-degree murder. Carries 25 years of life. So.
Okay, well, this is not true. According to Maryland law, attempted murder carries no minimum sentence. It can carry life though, so it wasn't a complete lie, but a lie nonetheless. And the detective fully knows that. Hearing that you, at the very least, could spend 25 years of your life behind bars if convicted is enough to make anybody shit their pants a little. And as you can tell by this 6-second span of complete silence, I think Luke's pants got a little shitty in that moment. I think this is where it truly began to sink in for Luke, that his actions had real consequences, that he wouldn't be able to get out of this one easy like he got out of the robbery. This was the absolute endgame.
That's why I wanted to give you your chance to stay at peace. Hey, what's up, man? Because right now, detectives are on their way to go search your house. They're also going to search your car and all that. So, I'm imagining they're going to find something in your house or in your car.
Luke essentially has two options here. It's a quick time event. The cops are closing in on his house, and if there's any weapon within a 50-foot radius of it or his car, then he's absolutely cooked and he knows it. Here, he can either come clean, confess it all, and pray that the prosecution gives him some leniency for being a good kid who made a mistake and just wants to play ball, Or he could keep quiet, he could stick to that bullshit story, put faith in that very good hiding spot that he chose, and put the rest in God's hands. Let's see what he chooses.
I'm down. They do, not mine.
I bet, but got a feeling there's a lot more that we know that we think we know or something. Like you didn't get here by accident. It wasn't just a random let's just stop and pick you up and bring you here.
I know. The way they made me get out of the car, yeah.
You thought?
I said, the way they made me get out of the car, I know.
I mean, maybe you didn't do it, maybe he did it, but we only know what we're told.
How would I get a lawyer? How long will I have to wait for that?
Luke has just inquired about a lawyer for the third time in this interview. Remember how I said that according to the law, the interrogation must stop once that happens, and that they can't ask you any more questions? Well, I'm a liar. Unless you unequivocally assert that you want a lawyer, the detective is free to squeeze out as much of the conversation as they want. Just like earlier on before the cop got him some water. Luke f***ed up by simply asking, can I talk to a lawyer? Because it leaves it open to interpretation. Remember back in school when you'd ask your annoying science teacher if you could go to the bathroom and they'd reply, I don't know, can you? Same shit. However, it's still not a good sign for Ed Wunsler here. He absolutely wants to avoid Luke shutting down and going mute. So because he senses that teensy tiny bit of resistance, he's about to throw a Hail Mary. The big twist I talked about earlier. I'm sure you won't see this coming.
I mean, you won't get a lawyer here today. You'll have to do that on your own, or folks do it, or dead cop. Dead cop.
Ah, yes. Your eyes and your ears do not deceive you. Luke's father is a police officer. And for the first time in this entire video, I'm actually going to spare y'all my thoughts.
You caught police.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, man. With your dad being a cop, how come you're like out in the streets doing this stuff? I got a feeling you're not like a street dude that grew up on the streets.
Nah, you know, still not no street dude. I was chilling. Most of the people I hang around.
You know, technically he ain't wrong. I mean, he is a 5-star athlete with a cop father and a 2-parent household after all. But still, I'm inclined to disagree with you here, Lucas. Have you ever heard that you are who you hang around and birds of a feather flock together? Clearly, you're not hanging around these guys to analyze how their brains work or something. That street has fully taken over you like the Venom symbiote. Like, I understand the attempt at self-preservation by deflecting some blame, but it comes off more as you distancing yourself from accountability. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You are one of those. Your rap sheet speaks for itself. You are in a category with Slim Jesus and Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Like, I mean, I give you a piece of advice, and you're really fucking your life up right now. Like, you're just letting everything burn away. You've been given every chance to be successful. And like, I would think after the first incident, where y'all stole like over 100 grand, and you were given a second chance, you didn't get charged, you didn't get anything. Nobody called your school to tell them how you're doing this and that. It's like we were saying, man, like for Oregon, you're just another number.
The burglary story is brought up again and we get a little more context. The detective reveals that it was approximately $100,000 that they stole. And in addition to him only having to pay a portion of it back and avoiding juvie, we now know that whoever handled the case didn't even notify his schools. With the new added detail of Luke's father being a cop, it really makes you wonder. One consistent theme I come back to on every story I've told on this channel is that these elite athletes live life on easy mode. The same mistakes you and I might make would never affect the star point guard or star quarterback like it would us. I mean, the detective said it himself.
No, they ain't charging me, about 18.
Because they don't want to mess with your life.
They are immensely protected compared to the average Joe. But a $100,000 burglary is pretty big, no? Seems like that would be a little harder to make go away. Unless your father was law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. Who am I kidding?
You're not the dude who went there and is their superstar and is the first round pick out of college right now. Who they're willing to bend over backwards for.
I agree.
You know? I mean, I'm just telling you the way it really is. Like, do you know how many dudes that they gave rides to?
One of that.
Because I imagine you're not on a full ride. Full, everything's paid. Because I know they only get like 7.6 of them to give out a year.
That was going to you.
You ever been in trouble in your life before?
Not this month.
Like in handcuffs, going to jail, anything like that? Juvenile? No.
No.
So is it mostly dudes you hang out with here that get you in trouble? Or dudes you hang out with at school?
Not school.
Because I imagine you probably like regimen at school. Like, they talk at this time to do this at this time, to do this at this time. Back to your spot.
Yeah.
Your brother play ball too?
This is the second time the detective has pointed out the wall behind him, this time while asking Luke about his brother. That's because his brother is literally in the next room getting interrogated as well. Not for anything that he did, just because he happened to be at the house at the same time as Luke. He had no involvement in Luke's shenanigans and is probably in that room mad as that his brother's actions have gotten him dragged into his mess. As an older brother myself, I'm triggered.
You still trying to find the school.
Did he go to college at all? Where'd he go? Well, if you do decide you want to say your piece of whatever did or didn't happen, or where you were or where you weren't last night, let me know. But if not, I'll be out of here. Knock on the door if you need something. Hey buddy, question for you now.
What's up?
Just ask you this, because they're in your folks' house right now, they don't want to destroy your folks' house. Is there any weapons in the house? Because they're going to run through it. We don't find it easily.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Where would one be at if there was one in the house?
I'm not sure.
You do realize they're going to run through your folks' house, if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like, they're going to tear it up.
Okay, so here's another quick time event. The detective is making it clear that this is Luke's absolute last chance to come clean and tell the truth before the cops rummage through his parents' house. Surely he folds here, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure my father got stuff that
I'm not talking about your dad's car.
in my word, not.
Alright.
Of course not. So let's get this straight, Lucas. You couldn't fathom the idea of your ex-girlfriend exercising some basic bodily autonomy and dumping your tender ass, so you devised a plan to murder her new who was also your classmate of 9 years. You made no attempt to hide your identity while doing so and also did it in broad daylight. You failed, thank God. You were swiftly caught because you went right back to your house like a goofball. Once you got in front of police, you lied about your whereabouts on that day. You lent your car to Casper Ghost. You let your brother get dragged into it. He in the next room probably losing his damn mind. You let the cops tear up your people crib. And then on top of that, you throw your own father to the wolves. You essentially plant the idea that it might be your cop father's service weapon that could have been used as a potential attempted murder weapon. You jackass. You fully deserve what happens next.
Alright, bro, get off there. I'll give you a minute to think. So we did find it inside your room. Like, I really suggest you start thinking about talking. I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it. But you just found the 40 in your room with the extended mag. So you really need to think about things.
In Luke's house, police were finally able to locate 3 separate guns, including a Glock 22 registered to his father, his service weapon, a Beretta 96D that was also registered to his father, and a Polymer 80 ghost gun that was also registered to his father.
No, that one was not registered.
What'd you say?
No, I said it wasn't registered.
Oh, you said?
No, yeah. No.
Oh, all right, but.
Fat that nigga.
Correction. The Polymer 80 ghost gun was not registered to his father. It was registered to nobody because it was a ghost gun. If you don't know what a ghost gun is, it's essentially a gun that you buy in multiple parts and assemble together yourself like a Lego set. It's basically the most American shit ever. It is illegal in 5 states. And Luke, being 18 years old, which is absolutely not 21, the legal age to be able to own a handgun, had no business having one at all. Unlike the other 2 registered to his dad, the ghost gun had no serial number on the barrel, and there was no definitive way to know how it even got in his possession in the first place. What made things worse was the location of the gun. That gun was found in his closet in a small hidden compartment cut out of drywall, hidden by mail matter from the University of Oregon, which is easily the most poetic shit I have ever read in my 23 years of life. At the scene of the crime, police were able to trace back 7 shell casings that matched the same caliber as the ghost gun. So yeah, long story short, it was over. But I'll let Detective Bowes tell it.
That's what my lawyer.
Okay. Just, you do know now you have completely, like, destroyed your life.
Sure about what?
You have completely, pretty much destroyed your life now.
Hey, stand up for me real quick. Take the hood off. Alright, what's up here? Good? Alright, you can sit down.
Hey, man. You want to make a call to your mom or your dad? All right, man. Stand up.
Luke would be formally booked and processed into the Prince George County Jail and would spend the rest of that day in a cell. After that, Luke was charged with attempted first-degree murder, first-degree assault, reckless endangerment, and multiple firearm counts. But once the case hit court, the bigger charges fell apart. In October 2020, he pled guilty to first-degree assault and possession of a firearm by a minor. As I said in the beginning of the video, the judge handed down a 20-year sentence, which he is still serving today.
Nah, he's out of jail.
Huh?
He's out of jail. Like, he's not in. No.
Oh, correction. Luke would be sentenced to 20 years in prison with all but 18 months suspended, plus 5 years of supervised probation, which basically means that he would only serve a year and a half, but if he fucks up again, he goes right back to the slammer. He is a free man right now as we speak, and he's back in pads. He's currently at a JUCO out west, hoping to get back to the D1 level. W, I guess. As for everybody else, life moved on. Ish, full name Ishmael Leggett, went on to have a terrific 5-year college basketball career at the University of Rhode Island and later at Pitt. And he was actually good. Ask the Pitt fans about him. They love him. A lot more than that other guy. And he's now playing professionally in Romania. Good for you, Ish. Bria found her footing too. Played 4 years of D1 ball herself and now coaches at a D3 back in Maryland. And no, they're not still together for anybody wondering. So in conclusion, if I had to be as neutral as possible and understanding towards Luke here, I'd say he committed the actions of someone who was a little lost in life. Luke was very talented from a young age, very much so ahead of the pack athletically. And we know how that can kind of fuck up a kid's mental development in some ways. He wasn't the best from a behavioral standpoint, but he did pour so much into becoming the best football player he could be, and that showed. From the beginning of his high school career, he was lauded. Starter on varsity, ranked the second best corner in the entire country as a sophomore. But then the behavioral issues really started racking up. The suspensions, expulsion, and then it coming to a head with the burglary. He gets away with the burglary because his community acknowledges his excellence and doesn't want to ruin his future prospects. It's a horrible decision, but maybe it can be attributed to him just falling in with the wrong crowd. It doesn't stop any momentum, so he doesn't have to feel the weight of his mistakes. And he still gets his proverbial golden ticket, a Division I scholarship. So he keeps making more mistakes. He feels invincible. Nothing as big as the robbery, but now you have so much more attention on you and the mistakes are weighted differently. You blow up on the people who put you in the positions to take your career to the next level. You do petty like scamming fans, and that leads you to losing that scholarship. The one thing you committed your entire young life to up to that point. The thing that you worked so hard to get is gone just like that. So yeah, you feel lost. What does your life truly mean at that point? Compounded with the isolation you feel as a result of the quarantine, maybe you are a little more irritable than usual. Your decision making is shot. So you jump off the deep end, which results in all this. But that. Because at the end of the day, Luke is not a victim and I don't want to portray him as such. I don't want to portray him as some sort of tragic hero or something. At the end of the day, this is a story of a boy who had such a violent obsession for a girl he was in a relationship with and couldn't cope with the fact that he couldn't own her like a dog, that he took it out on her and the new guy. This is the story of a kid from a good family with an extremely bright future, earned off the back of his incredible athletic ability, who threw it away because he wanted to tote Glocks with extendos. Young men, or studs, but especially young men, heed my words. Leave that girl alone. There are truly plenty of fish in the sea. Control your emotions. Your partner is exactly that, a partner, and their bodily autonomy belongs to them and them only. Do not try to control them. Learn to handle rejection. Do not be like Luke. Before you think about crashing out by some dumb shit, think about the immediate effect versus the long term. Put it like this. Your girlfriend cheats on you. You in her face. You might be a little less mad in the moment because you're a weirdo, but now you go to jail for a long time because you knocked the tooth out. You don't get to play GTA 6 on time. That's a year of you not being able to talk to any more girls. Once you get released from jail, you go back home and you have their criminal record, and you will never be able to talk to a girl without them knowing that you girls. You can't get no job. Nobody want to hire you. Now you broken ashy, and then boom, now you on the corner. It really be happening like that, y'all. Now, all jokes aside, this video is getting way too long. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it to this point in the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It would be very much appreciated. Until next time. Yeah.